This is Sasha D. Robinson of the Anger Management Production, Sasha D. Robinson Sports Talk Show. This is a very special episode that I did. I did this episode with Rodney of Relentless Destiny, and we talked about the Cobra Kai series, season 4. It was a really nice discussion. As you know, if you look at, we did season 3, we did like a little reaction, we did like a little overview and talked about Cobra Kai last year. So we wanted to talk about it again. Talk about it again. And again, I really enjoy talking with him. And if you haven't seen Cobra Kai at all, I suggest you do watch it. It's on Netflix. And our reaction was really not like a run through of the whole series. We didn't talk about episode for episode and all that. We talked about what we liked and what we didn't like. And one thing about this season of season 4, it wasn't like, how can I say, like season 3 or season 1 where it just popped you like you just jumped out of your seats. It was an entertaining season. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things about it that you could that if you watch this season, you would be like, yes, I love it. And then and to my opinion, there were some things that I just didn't like. One thing and another thing I just wanted to one thing to be able to say is that while me and Rodney we were having our discussion, we were starting to get into our what we didn't like, and at the 50-minute mark, it stopped everything stopped recording. So we were just in the middle of the discussion, and we were talking, and the next I'm like, I look up and I see it's not recording. And one of what we were getting into was about how season 3 started showing how Daniel and Johnny were going to merge together. Eagle Fang and Miyagi Do, they're going to merge their dojos together. And I'm like, I was really looking forward to this because again, you would love to see how Eagle Fang and Miyagi Do go together goes, because we saw exactly how with Samantha Larusso and Eli, how they were when they used both combined skills and how dominating that they were. Then Rodney started talking about the reason why he's glad that it didn't happen, because then pretty much saying that they're just unstoppable, they're invincible. Who's going to really beat them? There's no conflict in there. They can just walk around just beating the mess out of everybody, like they're fighting on rookie or beginner against all this other stuff. So if when he puts it that way, it's fine. But I guess I was more looking forward to seeing Johnny and Daniel finally just putting their BS to the side and let's work together. But I did look forward to the discussion with Rodney of that we did have, and I hope you really did enjoy our that you really did enjoy our that you did enjoy our feed. I'm going to have to cut this into two parts because I hear some people like, "Oh my God, over an hour." Yeah, I'm going to cut it into two, but I do want to let you know that at the that when we started getting into the middle one, oh, there's another one, another discussion we started talking about. We were talking about one particular player we call Gangsta Kai. Gangsta Kai. If you hear us talking about Gangsta Kai, because that was also cut out. Also, Gangsta Kai is the black guy from Cobra Kai with the cornrows, who's just in the background. He's always in the background. He's just there. And nothing in particular. You know who he is. He's the black guy over there with the cornrows, not doing anything. So we call him Gangsta Kai, and I'm gonna put that up there as well. Um, there are certain, but again, I do again beforehand before I turn this over, I just want to thank you again for watching anger management and this very special episode. And please, and I hope again you will come back, like, share, and subscribe. You know the whole deal. I'm putting our social media on here as well, so look for you, to follow us. All right, thank you again. Okay, cool. So,
Cobra Kai. It's a badass
Cobra
name for a dojo.
no, it must be the blue mats. Hey, so I want to welcome everyone to another episode of Anger Management. This is a special one. This is not a sports one. I have Rodney from Relentless Destiny. We're talking Cobra Kai Season 4. There will be spoiler alerts. How are you doing today, Rodney?
Man, I'm doing as best as I can. You?
Oh, man. I'm doing just fine. Just doing great. Doing real great. You want to know something, though? I was going to do a spoiler talk on Thursday, right before you messaged me and
Uh-huh.
talked about it. So I was like, well, let's go ahead and do this. I'm glad you reached out to me and wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, I thought of you right after I finished it, man, because in this day and age, it's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's like with these popular shows, man, it's like you almost have to watch it as soon as possible because even when people are being vague, they're spoiling shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's like I'm not gonna get spoiled on Cobra Kai because it's like I don't want to definitely want to get spoiled on like a new cameo or somebody coming back. Like the rumor, of course, was everybody knew about Terry Silver coming back, but
Right.
we didn't know if there was going to be a Dutch coming back or Mike Barnes coming back or anyone else. So that's the
Right.
stuff that or even how it's going to end. With the way they set up from season 3 with the dojo that loses is has to be disbanded. So yeah, it sucks, man, but we binge it as soon as it's out. I'm glad it's 30 minutes.
Yeah, the thing that I had to work, so I sat there and watched it while I was at work.
Oh, yeah.
So, oh man, I was loving it, and I was really great. So, I just want to know because I'm pretty sure because the way how we're talking right now, it seems like we both enjoyed season 4. What was probably your most memorable moments in season 4?
Moment or moments?
Yeah, go ahead. Moments. Let's go plural. Moments.
Okay, so moments, I would say the highlight, just going off the top of my head, would have to be Robbie and Hawk's fight, man. That the choreography was insane. The way, and here's one thing that I noticed, and this may have been in the past seasons too, but what I like, and I want to give them props about how they're doing the fight choreography. You can really see that they've committed to what they're teaching. Like you can literally see them using, like, I don't know if those techniques, I doubt those techniques would work in a real fight, but in the Karate Kid world, like you can see the wax on, the wax off, the paint, the fence every time they're fighting. Like I give
Yes.
them mad props for incorporating that into all the fight choreography because like you really, if you never noticed it before, watch the Robbie since they slowed down a lot. And I love the fact that they would not get points because you can clearly see that the move was blocked. Stuff like
Yes.
that,
Mhm.
like that fight was just badass. So that's one of mine. So I'll let you do yours, and then we'll kind of go back and forth.
Well, I was going to say that that fight was actually probably one of my favorite fights of all time. But I'm going to say because I wasn't a big fan of Robbie going into season 4. It's just something, because first he was just a whiny little kid, just angry at his dad, and then he came. Then you could see he was manipulative. You could see he was using people. But then this season, you definitely can see the evolution of Robbie's character. You definitely can just see it. He's more than just a crying kid crying for dad, looking for revenge, trying to find a place to fit in. I really like the way how they made him more than just that guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I started liking it. Another thing was I know that everything with Terry Silver was just snuck up on everybody, but I just love Terry Silver also
Well,
this season.
yeah.
Go
Before
ahead.
you let me, because that kind of segues. So let me before you go
Go
off
ahead.
Robbie.
Mhm.
that's gonna segue into my number two. I just want to elaborate on that since you highlighted him. I
Yes.
remember talking to my wife like the first two episodes. I'm like, they're about to make me like Robbie. They're about to make me like Robbie. Like I could not believe they're about to make me like Robbie. Like I was with you, so and the internet too. I think the general consensus is most people didn't like Robbie Keane's story. I saw the acting chops in Tanner. I think that's his name.
Yeah.
I was a fan of his acting. I thought, the way he talked to Johnny that first time he met him, like, and when they were in the apartment, I was already a fan. So the dude can act. I just
Hmm.
think he got a bad rap because of the way they were handling his character. Like he just didn't. He was there to piss us off because of the way they handled it. He shouldn't have been in the original tournament. He shouldn't have went so far against Miguel. And then him doing that bicycle or that skateboard kick,
Skateboard
whatever.
kick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like that kind of made him kind of whack. And like you, I went into this season. I didn't really dislike him a lot. I think he showed redemption, or his character had potential, more potential than it ever had at the end of season three. But I didn't expect to like immediately like him in season four. Like Robbie was a killer in season four. He was like cold as fuck. He was like, I can see him running a dojo type. Like the way he came in, like all business, which
Right.
overall, I think they may have messed it up with him being like that because then he kind of retracted back to being needy and being emotional and stuff like that. But man, the way they set him up for the majority of the season was killer. I loved it.
And I guess I'm going to go ahead and just say this right now because I was telling a friend of mine about this also. Anybody knows I wasn't a big fan of Tory or Samantha. I can't,
I
because
know.
I'm not a fan of Tori because when you see one typical angry bad girl who just always goes around thinking that she can whoop everybody's ass all the time,
Hmm.
you've seen it once, you've seen it all the time. So
Yeah.
Tori just fit the mold, and I was like, okay, I see it. Okay, whatever. But this time, I'm starting to like her because she's not. She's starting to show more than just I'm angry and I'm just going to whoop everybody's ass. Samantha, the same thing. She wasn't. You didn't see the manipulation. You didn't see all that like that. Like everything. Like a lot of the problems goes back to Samantha Larusso.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even Dimitri, I'm going to just say this right now. Even Dimitri, this season, I found him likable.
Nope.
You still didn't like him?
Nope. I was going to
I,
make sure I said that on this talk is that I don't think they can do anything to get me to like Dimitri. I don't care. Nothing against the actor, but
mhm.
yeah, I won't go too far. I'm just giving you a big nope on that one.
I guess I liked it because again, he wasn't annoying, he wasn't crying, he wasn't. Oh, he actually just that. But then, he got one of the sexiest girls in school. But we're still trying to figure that one out. But
Yeah, yeah.
whatever. But
Well,
okay, what? So I guess my overall is that I really liked. So I really liked the way how a lot of the characters in this one, they became more than just that one dimensional person.
hmm
But then I'm going to have to go back to, then I have to say this, and I think they did it on purpose.
hmm
Miguel and Johnny, they had to take a back seat this whole series. I
yeah,
mean,
I'll
this whole
elaborate
season.
when we get to the negatives of the season. I'll elaborate more, but yeah, I just say I agree with you.
So what's another good thing what is another positive that you liked on this?
Well, I'll go with two because it's going back because I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
our stuff is going to overlap. So I'm pretty much just gonna elaborate on what you've already highlighted. Starting with Samantha and Tori is that yeah. I mean, I never was a hater of Samantha. I mean, when you talked about her, I understood, and of course the internet they dislike her. I think Mary is doing a good job with her, and
Yes.
um and I like her. It's just I don't hate her. You know what I'm saying? And I think her moves are believable. I think she's believable as who she is, Daniel LaRusso's daughter. I think
Yeah.
her fighting is good, and I think that's where I give her credit. I mean, and the show has to have villains, and I think she's kind of like, in my opinion, she's almost like, if I'm remember not if I'm trying to think of somebody, but this is the first person that comes to mind. I could be thinking of someone else, but she's almost like Daenerys from Game of Thrones, where it's like I'm waiting to see her go full villain, and it's like,
Hmm.
they teased that Daenerys was going to be the Mad King, and I mean, of course, spoiler, she ended up being that way, but they robbed us of the journey there. And
Right.
Samantha is showing those same kind of traits where it's like, dude, she's seeming like she is straight up Cobra Kai. It's in there, and they unleashed a little bit of it. It's just like, I want her to go full, like almost like Robbie Keane, so to speak, like just on the flip side. And I think
Right.
people start liking her more if they just embrace that she's a villain. You know what I'm saying?
Instead
And
of
then
what, just having her like a goody goody.
yeah, yeah, because they're they're straddling the fence right now with her, and I think that's what's pissing people off. Besides her, like you said, being that character where she's really the cause of a lot of the problems. And I mean, and now that you made me think about it, yeah, some of the stuff was annoying, like her constantly looking at Robbie, and Miguel's kind of like over it, and she's still kind of like bitter about it. She's still bitter at Tori, and I mean, the way the writer set it up was for Tori to have the redemption. So, they're teasing it, but it's like they teased it and then they kind of pulled back, and it's like I don't know how they're gonna handle it. I just hope that she goes full villain next season.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I think a friend of mine we were talking about, and he was saying that Terry Silver, he's such suave and he knows how to talk. He can probably worm his way in getting Samantha LaRusso to switch sides.
Uh huh. Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. And then before we move on, just quickly on Tori, yeah, my wife doesn't like Tori, and I've been again a fan of hers. I get what you're saying, and I agree. She's the over the top. I'm gonna be badass. Always having a. She don't even have a resting bitch face. She has a stank. I don't even know. They need a new term for her face, man, because she always. I don't think I've ever seen her smile the whole season.
I,
You know,
unless if it was
so
like one of those those evil type grin, like something like that. Yeah, it's just like it is nothing, and there's nothing wrong with I mean, let me just go ahead and back up real quick because I don't want to make it seem like I'm just this. I'm hating women or something like that. It's nothing about that. It's just that I'm tired of the tropes. I'm,
yeah,
you know,
she's very tropish.
that's just the reason why this Peyton List is doing a good job as Tory,
Yeah,
and she came in and you can't see Tory going to Cobra Kai. You need to have somebody with an attitude,
yeah.
and Payne List is doing a good job with it. But I guess I just wish the way how I saw it and I envisioned the way how it was Tori was she could have been she could have been introduced in season two by being humiliated by Samantha LaRusso. Gives her a good reason to want revenge.
Yeah, I
And
think the way she came in was kind of too hot.
that's the reason why I just didn't. It's like she came into season two. If those who, if you're watching this and you're watching us talk about season four and you haven't seen season two, shame on you. But let
Mm,
me just go ahead and just do an rewind.
yeah.
In an episode when Tori was introduced, she took on Miguel. Miguel took her down, but of course, as what always happens, he did see, he like said, I'm sorry, or something showing mercy, and what does she do? She takes advantage of it, knocks him down.
Hmm.
And then she says, "Oh yeah, I've been taking some type of self defense classes, and some guy was trying to touch me, and then she the spike bracelet, and something like, yeah, he's never going to touch me again, and she came in with nothing but attitude. To me, it's like just like I said, she came in there with that. I wish that instead of her being introduced with somebody she came in there I'm just as tough as Miguel as your current champion.
Hmm.
I would.
Oh, I lost you, Sasha.
You there?
Yeah, I lost you for a second.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I wish that that same episode when Aisha and her and Samantha were meeting at the beach club, and instead Samantha embarrassed her,
Yeah.
humiliated her, and then she could have found a reason to go to Cobra Kai. That's just it.
I
Does that
think
make
that would have. I think that's an awesome idea, and I think you're spot on with that. I think she came in just too hot, and I think that turned off a lot of people to begin at the get
sense?
go.
Yeah. So
But
that's
again,
what. So
she's doing a great job. Again, like you said, Peyton List, she's beautiful. She's definitely the queen of Cobra Kai. She kicks ass. She's very believable. And I'm glad in this season they made her three-dimensional. They've
right,
given her. It was good to focus on her and add a lot of depth to her character and her feeling. Her with Amanda, I think wasn't too far-fetched the way it was handled. I think they handled that well because she needed some kind of anchor to bring her back down to earth, and I think Amanda was a great way. And again, it wasn't too far fetched. It was very believable the way she approached it with the key thing being the love for her daughter. She wants the shit to stop already, and she's kind of doing whatever it takes, so to speak.
right. Then and that's another thing. I guess I wanted to go with that one because Amanda just started showing that she had a heart, and she was trying to be more letting Tori know, hey, you can come to me, hey, despite of what all happened between her and Samantha. So
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, and I
You know,
love the humbling of the LaRussos this season. That was a great highlight too. They got humbled big time.
oh, and I was going, and this was another thing. What I was waiting for you to finish because speaking of humbling,
Yeah.
one of the best humbles of all was definitely Anthony LaRusso.
Oh yeah, I
Anthony,
mean, he's gonna be. I don't know if he's gonna be your highlight of the season, but he's definitely gonna be mine too.
he is because again he wasn't just there just to be the annoying guy, the annoying kid who just came around and act like he's just lazy. Now he was more to it. You definitely can see he was a jerk. He's an asshole. And I'm sorry, this was one time I actually really cheered. I really cheered for it, and I'm just hoping more and more going into season 5. I wonder how this is going to go. We'll get into that. We'll get into that one later.
Yeah,
But I really liked, like you said, the Russos all the way around. Every single one of them were really humble. They came
yeah,
off their high horse.
yeah. They all did. Especially I love that psychiatrist scene. When they were pretty much. I mean, and this in the suspension scene. When they found out that Anthony was the bully, and it's like. I mean, and the thing, honestly, the Larussos, it's almost like you got to step off of them. They have been getting kind of beat up if when you think about it over the whole series because they are very naive to their kids and they are very naive to how bad their kids are and the world around them is dark and they don't know that what I'm saying because they're on their high horse but I like that the show reminds them that look y'all are just as evil if not worse than the people that y'all are fighting against what I'm
Right.
saying? Especially that
Yeah.
moment with Kreese when Kreese was in the supermarket. That was a good humbling moment where he knocked her off that high horse. It's like, and again, I like that. That's what shows should do.
Right.
With all their protagonists, they need to be humble. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they're trying to make characters that have depth. That makes them human. That they do make mistakes and and it shows how hypocritical the LaRussos are. And again, they are the villains, even though they're the good guys. You know?
And that's one thing that I really did like about Cobra Kai altogether. They can really switch.
Yeah.
Who's really the good guy? Who's really the bad guy?
It
Who do
constantly
you
switches.
really cheer for? Everybody, everything constantly switches. Even Cobra Kai themselves,
Hmm.
even the Cobra Kai Dojo. Remember season one? I don't even think that that it was really like as bad as Cobra Kai from the 1980 movie. It was just a bunch of kids who started to get confidence. These were a bunch of, according to Johnny Lawrence, a bunch of losers. Now all of a sudden they're kicking ass.
Yeah, and see, I want to highlight this because this is something I
Mhm.
told my wife that I noticed when
Yeah.
they did the flashback scene, and
Hmm.
this is like the foundation of where, to me, in my opinion, the foundation of why we are at this moment now, and it had to do
Hmm.
with one decision they made as writers in the 80s, which was unheard of too because it went against the grain, is the fact that moment when Kreese told Johnny to sweep the leg and Johnny had a problem with it. And
Right.
Johnny showed, after all that time of being an asshole, a typical tropish 80s villain, at that
Hmm.
moment he had heart and he had conflict in him, and in the fact that he told LaRusso after he won that you're all right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That lays that if they had made that different, they would be retracking and retconning everything, and it wouldn't be as believable. But just the fact that the writers chose to be different back then and have the villain have heart, that sets up this Johnny, where it's totally everything in this world is totally believable just because of that decision, in my opinion. Had
And
they
you know
made
something?
Johnny still be an asshole and be a sore loser, we wouldn't even be, when they rebooted Cobra Kai, they would probably have to still go with, cookie cutter Daniel LaRusso as the hero.
There you go. You're absolutely right about that. But another thing that I kind of was thinking about also. Remember the episode Match Point, the one where Daniel and Johnny they decided to have their rematch.
Yeah, yeah,
One thing is that when they were both training, you got flashbacks and you saw everything from both of their point of views.
yeah, yeah.
So, and that's how this whole, and another thing to piggyback off of what you're saying, because every time it's about whose point of view.
Hmm.
For according to Johnny, Daniel was moving in on his girl, and he picked a fight with him. He was defending himself. But we all know that it's actually Johnny was just a jerk face. But he was a jerk face throughout the whole time, and whooped his, he antagonized more into it. But it was always about somebody else's point of view. It wasn't about like Daniel was right and Johnny was wrong, or vice versa. It was about both sides.
Yeah, point of view, and that's where they, again, the writers are killing it by uh
Yes.
by staying in the gray areas with their characters, and that's what's making this so engaging and fun to watch. Is, and like you said, it's hard to believe that somebody that you dislike, you'll end up liking sometimes the next episode. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Right.
that's that's awesome, and I think they're knocking it out the park in that regard. Again, starting when I was like, dude, don't, I can't believe they making me like Robbie.
So, one thing is that I wanted to really tell you about a little disappointment that I really had.
Well, before
Even
we
though,
get that,
yeah,
we
go ahead.
still haven't. There's hold up. There's still one more high we haven't.
Okay, go ahead.
We started on it, but we didn't get to it. And
What's that?
I wanna bring up the past because I could have sworn since we started this, I've always been, whether I will die on this hill that that Karate Kid 3 is a good movie. I
Oh
don't
my
care what
gosh!
anybody says.
Oh my
But
god!
I've always been a fan of Terry Silver. I think his philosophies were great. I think the way he turned Daniel was great. I think the cartoonish mustache swirling villain that he was great. So it's only natural that he came into this season hot. and I think his name is Thomas Ian Griffith. I think that's the actor's name. He
Yes.
he killed it. And the thing is when anytime they bring in somebody from the past, of course, this is 80s, 90s, so a lot of stuff that flew back then may not fly now. So it's always to me, it's always I'm always kind of like skeptical and waiting to see how they or how their acting skills are in the modern age and see if they have it. And of course, he smoked it, man. Like I've read nothing but positivity regarding his introduction and the way he's done it. Everybody's like high on Terry Silver and again the actor, awesome job. Like the way he's also gray area where man, it's hard not to like him and
Right.
it's hard to like he's not a cookie cutter villain, you know what I'm saying, but at the same time he is. And I think him and Kreese both do that very well, where I think we talked about that on the last talk. Is like Kreese is the same way, where it's like he's one step from being that cartoonish villain, but he never oversteps it. He's like gets right close to the edge and then he just comes back and then he just does his little mannerism and it's like, nah, he's not a cartoon villain. He's just Kreese. And that's the same with Terry Silver. And not to mention, man, his skills. Like that's another thing that I've always liked with him. Like he's very believable, even though he's tall and kind of
Yes.
lanky. Dog,
hmm
he looks like every time he fights, he looks like cold as shit. He looks like he's the most skilled fighter out of all of them.
You know something because you said that. I don't know if you know, and I'm gonna give a shout. I'll give a shout out to Watch Mojo. They did a top 20 most powerful Cobra Kai
Uh huh.
fighters,
Yeah.
ranking from 20 to number one, and
Uh,
they had
I need
Terry
to
Silver.
watch that.
I'm gonna send it. I'll send it to you. But yeah, they had Terry Silver number one,
Yeah.
and
Well, I believe that.
and the thing with that, I saw a lot of people getting angry, like, no, Chosen should be number one because of who where he is. That can be argued. That
Yeah.
can be up for debate.
Uh huh. Was he
Um,
number two?
yeah, Chosen was number two.
Okay.
Johnny was number three. Was Johnny? Yeah, Johnny was number three. Daniel was four, and I
And
think Kreese was five. I
and
could
then,
be wrong. I have to look at it.
and it had to be Miyagi's probably six.
No, they don't have Miyagi. They just only have Cobra Kai, not.
Oh, Cobra Kai's okay.
Yeah. I
They
was
should
sending it
get
to
the
you.
whole series, like everybody in the world in the
But then
cart in that universe. But go ahead,
that
yeah.
then if we're doing that, then that means that they may have to include Julie also, which I'm hearing a lot of people are hoping is Julie going to be in this one. If people don't know, Julie's from the next Karate Kid. She's the antagonist, the
Yeah,
protagonist, in the next Karate Kid.
yeah. I've never seen it, so
You've never seen the next Karate Kid?
no, never. I never had
Do
it.
yourself
Fire.
do yourself a favor, don't watch it.
Okay, I don't think I'm missing much.
No, it was just if you look at the next Karate Kid, it looks like they just want it was like, well, let's just make another Karate Kid movie. I don't think Ralph Macchio's too old to do this, so let's do the. It's a stupid storyline. It ain't worth it.
You don't have to talk. You don't have to waste more time. We know. Go back to Terry Silver being number one.
Terry Terry Silver, and what you're saying is right because this skills when I was watching him fight Johnny in that episode, that fight was just so badass. And what I really was thinking is that short time that Johnny learned defense from Daniel saved him
Yeah,
from an ass whooping.
yeah. You're right on that.
Because if he didn't learn all that defense, that would have been a really short fight because Terry actually owned him.
Hmm.
So I'm going to agree with you on that one. And the way how he manipulated, the way how he just went about everything,
Hmm.
I really like the way how Terry Silver was there. He didn't, like you said, he did come across as a you didn't know what his true intentions were
Uh-huh.
until his final scene. That's why I really loved it because
Which
you
and the
you
thing is he was manipulated or he was the actions, what happened with Kreese determined his last move. I don't think he
Right.
set that up until that moment when he brought Johnny there and he beat him up and he saw that Kreese had his weakness. And he
Hmm.
realized it was like he realized his true power. Like he said, his weakness was Kreese. He
Right.
was always looking for his approval. And then once he found out that he was not number one or he was not number two to Kreese, he was like, wait
Hmm.
a minute. Then I don't. He realized again his true power. I don't need this. He is my weakness, and I'm gonna cut it out.
Right. And that's why I really like Terry Silver. To
Yeah, yeah. I
me,
tell you, since Karate Kid 3, bro.
now now are you one of those hoping that Mike Barnes comes back?
Anybody can come back in this universe. It's all about how they handle them. Like the way they handled Allie, I thought she was gonna have a bigger role, but I mean she's doing probably so much more work since doing the boys and other stuff that she may not have time for Cobra Kai, or maybe that they don't want to make it cheesy. I think again, dude, this series would not be where it was is right now, us talking about it, us loving it without the writers. And right now I'm still just trusting the writers that they've made the right decisions 100% up until this point. So whatever they're doing, whether they want to bring Barnes back, whether they want to bring Dutch back, shit, whether they want to bring Jaden Smith back or Jalen Smith, Jaden Smith, if they want to
Jaden
bring
Smith, yeah.
him and Jackie Chan's character in, they would, the way until we get into, and we're about to get into that area. Don't want to go too far ahead of myself or us. But like, when it comes to series, I've watched a ton of great series, and my wife and I call it like the season four curse. I noticed it in almost all the seasons that go beyond four seasons. Right around here is where they start kind of jumping the shark, or
Hmm.
fucking up the series because they start doing way too much, and that's going to go into my negatives when we get to that point about this season. But we're gonna have to see how they do season five, you know. But yeah, if they bring Barnes, I was a fan of Barnes in Karate Kid 3. I'm definitely a fan of Dutch. I thought he was the coldest Cobra Kai. He kind of got that scariness in him, where it's like that dude is a ticking time bomb. I know we elaborated on him the last time we talked. Like
Right.
he's fucking scary. He's like the scariest Cobra Kai to me. Like I don't know if he's the best fighter, but I think if they showed him more and if he still got the skills today, I think they can easily make the argument that he's like the coldest out of all of them.
Well, you're right about that. And the thing is, what's so funny about that, because everybody talks about Dutch, and because I was watching this, I was watching the original, and I don't ever recall him like doing anything major until to the tournament. Well, hi there, Danielle.
Yeah.
What's mommy's not here to help you change? And then the way how his face is just so straight, but like you said, it's just intimidating. And Johnny's in the back, just sitting there with like a little grin, or like, yeah, go ahead and get him. But
Hmm.
yeah, Johnny, you were the main asshole on this one. Now this guy seems like he's the true villain. I would
Yeah.
definitely really love to see Dutch if he comes back in season 5.
Yeah, if the actor's up to it, and again, if he can hold his own, just like everybody else is doing, like
Right.
Dutch, I think he got cut way too short, and there's a lot, especially if they want like a true, like again Terry Silva, if they kill him off or whatever they do with Terry Silva, and then they need another villain to take that spot. I think Dutch is the only one that would come to my mind that would fill that role perfectly. As far as being intimidating, as far as being cutthroat, cold hearted, I think Dutch would be the perfect fit. So I would take Dutch before I take Mike Barnes again if the actor is up to it, and again if he can be believable in this current world. But
You're
again, they
definitely right
bring.
about that.
I trust the writers, man. They're dealing with they're talking to the people, So I'm 100% on their side in that regard.
Well, one thing that I will have to say, we can definitely agree with one thing: the writers are really doing a favor to the fans.
Yeah, yeah.
I really love how that they listen to the fans. I remember season three. I think I even brought this up about the way how, like, at that when they did the school board meeting and they started talking about Samantha, like, oh yeah, your daughter's actually the bully, because that's something that the fans are actually saying. She manipulated this, and then
Oh yeah,
you
that was awesome.
I really love the way how they do that, and they're sticking to the continuity. They're not trying to, like what you said. Normally around this time, they start jumping the shark and they start, bringing stuff out of proportion and trying to say, okay, well, let's redo this, do this, do this. Let's bring in more fans. No, they're sticking with this is what the story is,
Mhm.
and we're not trying to do anything out of the ordinary. We're not trying to lose fans. We're not trying to lose the people. This is who that we're doing it for. And I mean, it's pretty much what the number one rated on Netflix, and it's always, every time it's going to be dropped, it's always going to be it's going to be top.
Yeah, as long as
So
they don't mess it up.
right about that. So you
So
want to get into
before,
the negatives? Go
yeah,
ahead.
before we do, I just want to highlight two more things since they're small,
Okay.
but they were fun for highs of this season. Now, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure there are more. I just quickly, Hawk's redemption story was great. Quickly, I like the way they introduced Kenny. I think he was great at the beginning, but
Yes.
I think that'll go into the negative. So I just want to highlight that the actor that did for Kenny was great and the setup was great. I want to highlight that fucking scene with the board members. Man, I don't say I was in tears, but man, everything with them is hilarious, dude. Like dying laughing. That was so funny.
Which you talking about, like, from, like, when they were talking about the when they were, like, sitting back together at the beginning of the episode
No, no,
and
no.
talking about.
The board members of the karate tournament when they were trying to figure out how to make the tournament different and trying to vote on it.
Yes, I thought, yeah, that was hilarious. That was definitely hilarious.
Mhm.
The way how they're doing. Come on, it's the blue match. That's why everybody's saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, it's the blue
it's like
match.
I got the gavel, you don't got the gavel now. And then with that burn when she said that's why you've been divorced or something like that, I was like, whoa.
I definitely did like that. But you know what? There's another thing, and another thing that I really liked, and I really wouldn't like. I want to talk about the realism of Devin and Kenny, and I'm not talking about their characters, but in the tournament, because
Yeah,
Devin said something which I think a lot of people were thinking about the original Karate Kid. She
yeah,
said, "I made it this far in 6 weeks of training. Give me more time, and I'll be whooping all these bitches."
yeah,
And I'm thinking, damn, that's the same thing what people were saying about Daniel.
yeah,
You this is 6 weeks of training, and then you decide, and you come and whoop everybody's ass. But and Kenny, he also made it. And you have to remember, at the beginning of the episode, he was scared. He didn't want to take a punch. You
yeah.
touched him. He's sitting there. He's flinching and he's scared half to death. And then all of a sudden, he made it to the quarterfinals.
Hmm.
So you see those two characters making it making it that far, and they're matching up against people who were training for years. Yeah, I like those two characters.
Yeah, yeah. Now that was gonna be the last one I wanted to highlight was my girl Devin. Like, she's gonna be she's gonna be the queen of Eagle Fang. Like, man, that girl is straight cold. Like, that's one of the best additions of this season, man. And it was short lived. So, I'm sure she's gonna have a bigger role next season. And I would love to feel because I think that's a good triangle as far as competition for the girls. Like, if
Mhm.
Devin is on Eagle Fang, Tori, that's what we're gonna have to find out because that would also be a good dynamic or a good change, or just to see how it's gonna pan out. Is like like we talked about, is Samantha gonna go to Cobra Kai and then Tori go to Miyagi Do?
Right.
That's a possibility. And then you got the three girls and they're very convincing. Again, bringing in Devin,
Mhm.
she's cold. I think she's the only one that I feel can compete. Like, The new girl they brought in, I didn't really care for her.
Yeah, I was just about to. I was waiting for you to finish because I was about to say I was not a fan of Piper.
Yeah, Piper.
I Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What were you saying?
No, you can take because that'll segue into our negativity or negatives of the season. Piper, yeah, the way they recruited her, like I don't know what happened with them and Aisha. She was a
Right.
believable girl back then. Maybe they wanted to go a different direction and they envisioned someone more like Piper. But I guess the way they set her up was okay. It's just her talking shit, and especially it was like kind of a conflict of who her character was supposed to be. Like she's supposed to be this hippie loving person, and all of a sudden she loves karate and she's talking shit and wants to kick ass. It just didn't make sense to me.
Right. and I guess I wanted just one thing I wanted to say about Piper was that was it just seemed like they hyped her up.
Yeah.
They made this big hype. The way how Moon was over there, like, yeah, my ex-girlfriend, she was like this and that. No, you better find a good way of talking to her because she doesn't like this. And then all of a sudden you see her, she says, okay, yeah, I'll join. And then all of a sudden she goes to Cobra Kai. You see her when she's sparring against Tory. She's just doing she's doing some half-ass cartwheel. Her moves look kind of like whatever.
Yeah,
and
like capoeira.
I'm thinking like I'm thinking that you're going to be doing more. I'm thinking that you're going to at least, even though that Tori has been doing this for years, at least matching up because Moon and everybody hyped her up like she was going to be the next best badass.
Yeah, and Devin filled that role way better than she did.
Way better.
Yeah, so they didn't have to waste the time on Piper, I don't think.
I don't even think that they should even brought Piper in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They didn't even need to waste time. I mean, I guess they needed girls as kind of cannon fodder. They needed girls that need to match up but lose, so they got to kind of fill the roster. So I guess she serves that purpose as not being. She did have dimension for being a throwaway character that they needed for the tournament. Because they do need more girls that are not going to go far, but be believable. So I guess I'll take that argument,
Okay,
But
yeah.
But yeah, and that's going to be my big negative about this season. When I rank it is with the other ones is I think, first of all, just what we were talking about, I think that, just like the Kenny thing, I think that they juggled too much where, in 30 minutes in 10 episodes, I think it was 10 or 11 episodes.
10 episodes.
Yeah, they try to do too much with too many characters. Because it's like, dude, like I'll start with like Kenny. It's like, dude, he came in hot, and it's like, black dude. He was nerdish. The actor was very fucking believable. You know what I'm saying? And him getting bullied. I thought he was gonna be a main focal point of the whole series. Which he was the main focal point at the beginning, and then a main focal point at the end. But we literally didn't see him. My wife and I were talking. We didn't see him like after like 3 episodes. He was not in there. Like you could not have him leave for 3 episodes, and it was because they were juggling so much. They tried to give everybody, again, like your boy Dimitri. He's got to talk about him. It's like they have too many storylines going on where certain people are taking a backseat, which I'm sure that'll. We'll talk about the main problem with Miguel and Johnny taking a backseat. But even before then, is my biggest problem is the karate took a backseat, a big backseat.
Yeah, there weren't that many memorable fights. There was probably, if I'm going to go with it, I think that there were probably, I'm going to say that there's probably three memorable fights. That's just me.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 3, and that's and even though as much as I liked that Johnny and I like that Johnny and Terry Silver fight, that Daniel fighting against the hockey team, I wasn't really all that much impressed with it. I
Yeah.
think they did it to for a service to fight, just for it, but I didn't really like it.
Yeah, it wasn't that
Um,
special.
yeah, and so you're right about that. The fighting did take the karate fighting did take a backseat. But the thing is, what I didn't like, but then there were fights that we didn't really have to have. Think about it. The
Don't talk
after.
about the prom fight.
Go
I
ahead.
like that fight.
Yes, you like that fight?
Yeah, dude, I like that fight.
Oh man, it just did. It just didn't. I mean, I didn't like it. It just didn't feel intense. It just felt like just get it over with. They're at the same party. It's bound to show up. You two go ahead and fight. Robbie and Miguel didn't really have their a real big throw it out like they did at the school at the end of season 2. You didn't, and Tory and Samantha didn't really get into it. It just felt so like go out there and fight. Okay, it's over with. They got thrown into the pool.
Mhm.
It just didn't feel right. I don't know.
No, I feel like with the whole, I think I'm more like impressed with just the silly choreography that they were able to accomplish. I think I understood why they did it, and like, yeah, I can see why people would dislike it. I think I'm just
Mm,
more like I didn't hate it, and I like what they did with it, considering they were in formal attire and stuff like that. And I think what they did with that, I think it was creative. That's all. I ain't gonna rank it. It'll probably be the lowest ranked fight of the season, but I didn't hate it. But and when it comes to the karate, what I want to talk about, elaborate on why I say it took a back seat is the fact that you have this big deal about them changing up the tournament, and you have all these new categories, but yet they just show up with the skills. They could have. We didn't see no training up until that point. We didn't see them training to get good at hitting boards and doing the tornado kicks or doing the sword or the weapon choreography. We didn't
right.
see none of that, and you know what I'm saying. They just dumped it on us, and then it made the tournament a mess because, like you said, Kenny goes to the quarterfinals, and it all got confusing with the points. It's like I didn't even know what the fuck was happening. Where I'm like, who is advancing and who is losing? It was hard to tell.
Right. And that's another thing that I wasn't a big fan of. Just like what you said, it is about the way how the tournament did happen.
Hmm.
Um, it was just like it just happened,
Yeah,
and then there was nothing like what we could just say like the previous other tournaments. We saw the advance, and we're seeing the fighters going through. We're
yeah,
seeing fighters falling off. It's just like people are just going through, and then all of a sudden, Dimitri made it to the quarters. Really?
yeah. Like what? How? Against who?
Right. I would like to really see it. You didn't see again. We saw Piper. I would have loved to have seen that. You know what I was looking forward to, since speaking of this? I
Yeah.
would have loved to have saw Xander. I
Yeah.
would have
Yeah.
loved to have saw Xander. Xander looking for payback.
Uh huh.
But we didn't get that. I was hoping to see Xander, at least make an appearance on the episode talking about, Miguel, I owe you one,
Hmm.
and he wasn't there. I would
It
have
could
loved to
have
see
even been
some.
a. It could have even
Go
been a
ahead.
joke where he could have came back and be like, "I've learned my ways. I'm not a fighter anymore. This is barbaric," or something like that. It could have been a joke. He could have been. They could have just had him commentating or something like that.
Right, but he wasn't there, and that was another person that I was really looking forward to seeing. But
Yeah.
like you said, the tournament, it's just like it just happened.
Yeah.
And the advancement, the everything got there. It's just like as the setup, it just happened, and this would happen, and this was goes from there. And this is another disappointment that I had, and I'm going to go with this. Kyler.
Yeah.
You know what? Kyler was introduced as an asshole, the biggest asshole next to Johnny.
Hmm.
And then he goes in this. He goes and he gets eliminated.
What was the line? It was something about um you only stay a good guy because you don't live long enough to become a villain or something like that. I'm sure I
Yeah.
know I'm butchering it, but it has something to do with that there are no good guys. You just didn't live long enough to become a villain, and especially if you're trying to take down somebody as maniacal as the Joker, you're gonna have to do some shit to take him down that you don't that's not morally that's not your moral compass, so to speak, that
Mhm.
doesn't jive with that. And you know so yeah, I don't know. I think they wrote themselves in a corner, and I think that's the only reason they still highlight the fact that Daniel and at the end of the day, Daniel and Johnny are still oil and water. Their philosophies are way different. They highlighted even more so this season that dude, it's going to get to a point they can help each other, but it's still going to get to the point like and I like that Robbie said that not you everybody's convinced their way is the right
The
way.
right way.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And I think they just wear that on their sleeve. They're very hard-headed old men in that regard, that they just like no, especially and Daniel probably more so. No, I wouldn't say more so, because Johnny's very fucking hard-headed too.
Oh, it was very hard headed.
Yeah, so I think that it's always going to be that way. I think that I don't know if they're ever going to get to a point. I think this season showed to me this is as best as we can expect for them to get. This is as close to them having dinner together, like Amanda said before. They were, she had to put away the knives or whatever, and she dropped that line. It's like I think they're just showing that this is really the best it's going to get.
If we're gonna put it that way, the way how you broke it down, then okay, then I can agree with you, because I guess the way how I see it, because I was just at least thinking that they're going to, because I guess at the end of on season one, when they were driving together and you saw that they actually can get along, and then season two and season three, you definitely can see that these guys actually can get along. Then all of a sudden, it's just like, man, I can't stand you. No, I can't stand you. You're a jerk. No, you're a jerk. It's just like, golly, you guys don't understand, man. You guys can actually be the best of friends. You guys just stop acting stupid. You
Yeah,
guys are actually alike. What was that?
yeah, I think they're just highlighting human nature. You can only go so far, before your differences start to outweigh, or maybe one big difference that kind of puts everything else in the rear view. It just might
Mm,
be one little thing that y'all just cannot agree on, and that everything else that y'all agree on just doesn't matter anymore.
okay. You're definitely right about that one. But then we're going back to one thing that I think me and you were leading to at the beginning of this, and it was about the way how Johnny and Miguel had to take a back seat.
Yeah.
And I understand the reason why they had to take a back seat, because again, you had all these stories. Johnny and Miguel, they've been in the forefront for 3 seasons. So how about let them take a back seat and let's go with something else.
Mhm.
But again, I'm starting to become a big fan of Miguel. I am really starting to become a big fan of Zolo. I cannot pronounce his last name to save my life,
Yeah. Just
but
call him out.
Miguel, because again, I like the way how his evolution. I really love the way how it is, and then to see that he took a backseat. He even took a backseat to Johnny and his mom's relationship.
Yeah.
It's like he was barely there, and that's why I'm like, come on, man. I would love to have seen a little bit more of him. And all of a sudden, I went to go see my dad. I didn't even know why I mean, I understand that when Johnny was drunk and he said, I love you too, I love you, Robbie," or something like that. And
That was
that could be
heartbreaking.
heartbreaking.
That was
Yeah.
heartbreaking. That was rough. And I
I
think
and
that's what
I
I'm kind of tired of. I'm tired of my boy Miguel getting shit on. It's like, dude, he was part of the reason why I'm so invested in this show. I said all my praise for him and the actor and the writing and in our previous talks, but it's starting to like. I guess it's to the point where it's starting to get on my nerves. Like, all right, I'm ready for him to be a badass again. I'm waiting for him to be the man again, and he's taken like it's taken 3 seasons now where he hasn't been, and now it's just kind of we're antsy. I think we're just like, all right, that's enough, dude. Let's get Miguel back somewhat. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's just I guess that's just my little complaint that I have about that. Besides that, I know that we've highlighted other kind of character, other characters throughout here, like certain characters, like why are you here? Again, Piper. I was a fan of Piper. But one thing is that I just want to ask right now: what did you think of John Kreese?
No, I think he did good. I think he was very subtle this season. I think that he served his purpose. I think he also took a back seat, but it was because you bring in a big personality like Terry Silva, he's gonna take a
Mhm.
back seat. I think he was more what's the word I'm trying to think? He was more cerebral this season than
Right.
in previous seasons. He didn't have to be as physical. He was more he wasn't even really manipulative. He just kind of like stayed in the shadows and emerged when he needed to. But when he came out, it was a big part of the story, and he landed big, and then he went back into the shadows. And I like the way he was handled this season because he did take a back seat, but his presence was always big when he was there.
So you're saying that his presence overshadowed his lines when
Yeah.
he's there. When he's there, you knew that it was trouble.
Yeah, and he doesn't have to say much. He's just Kreese, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes the looks and it's the story around him speaks
Hmm.
for him. Where what Kreese is thinking. Like that moment when Terry looked at him and he said, "Everybody has a weakness," and then he gave him that look like, "Wait a minute, motherfucker! It's like you're talking about me." You know what I'm saying? So we kind of already know what Kreese we like know. We know him so much, and they've done such a good job. And of course, the actor has done such a good job that Kreese don't have to say much, and you just already know what the deal is.
Yeah. Now this is one thing that we didn't talk about this. No. Well, I saw a message works. I'm on a Facebook fan page. What did you think about Carrie Underwood's version of Moment of Truth?
Fuck, nope, stinker. Down. Dude, that was supposed to be "You're the Best Around" Redux or whatever. That's gonna be the new age "You're the Best Around." I was like, when she came in, like again, the board meeting with the Malcolm Jamal Warner line was funny, and then when they were talking shit was funny, and then when he pulled it off, and I'm like, okay, I can see the joke because he did pull it off. But then when they made it where I thought she was just gonna announce a tournament, but then she started breaking out in the song, and the song was whack to me, so. I'm sorry, Carrie Underwood, and to her fans or whatever, but I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling it either. It was just like when I heard her singing, I'm like, God, leave, stop, just stop it. Go, just you could have probably did your own kind of fight song, but don't touch Moment of Truth. Come on, Moment of Truth, you're the best. Come on.
Was that "You're the Best"?
No, I'm just saying she could have did her own version.
Yeah, that's
She
what,
could
like
have.
I was just about to say that, dude. Like because of course the cover for "Cruel Summer" is like the best shit ever. Like I don't even
Mhm.
need the original "Cruel Summer." The new "Cruel Summer" is fucking fire. So if she
Right.
had came out started with singing "You Are the Best Around," man, I would have geeked the fuck out. That would have been a perfect opportunity. I don't know why they didn't do it. I don't know why they didn't do it. Maybe the rights were too much.
I don't know why either.
They,
So
how you gonna not do "You're the Best Around" right there? Like they better do it next season.
I think that they better do that also. So I was watching again because Kendall he was watching he's not like me. He's going to sit down and watch it. He's going to probably watch it in spurts.
Yeah.
But he was watching Stingray coming. I walked in, I saw he was watching when Stingray was there, and I'm just wondering, like when he was introduced, and I'm just wondering, like, why are they bringing him back into the fold?
Well, I like Stingray.
You like Stingray?
Yeah.
Why do you like Stingray?
I don't. I mean, I don't. I really thought a lot of people liked him. I was shocked to find out that he's one of the most unlikable characters, to be honest.
I guess it's a grown ass man hanging out with a bunch of kids.
But that's the joke. That's what I'm saying. I guess he's supposed to be that. I thought he was funny. I thought he was believable. And he's that loser, fucking basement dweller, old guy that's still trying to be cool. And yeah, I definitely didn't see that twist coming at the end with him. That's the reason they brought him in. But yeah, I was shocked that people didn't like him. So Stingray, I'm one of your only fans.
So, what do you think is going to happen going into season 5? I want to know, what do you think will happen?
I'm worried. Yeah, so let's go ahead and wrap this up so we don't be talking for 4 hours.
Yeah.
I'm worried with the season 4 curse because if Dexter can fuck up, hello Dexter Morgan, anybody can fuck up. If Game of Thrones can fuck up, anybody can fuck up. So even the way they're setting it up, like I guess I can see Miguel's gonna, like, I just don't know, Sasha. I don't know how they're gonna go. Like, they set up a lot of good shit, but at the same time, it's almost like they're going in a circle, because I've always said this, and it's another hill I will die on in regards to Cobra Kai, is that I really feel they need to evolve into MMA. I think that's a natural evolution to keep the fighting relevant, and it can, and you can tell the storyline of still being a fighter, and it can go forever that way. You can still have rival dojos just like there are in MMA, and then you get the struggle of the fighter, cutting weight, being a champion, getting your ass beat, raising a family while you're a fighter. They're, at the end of the day, they're all still fighters. So I think that's the natural evolution. But if they keep up this whole tournament thing, I think, again, it's going to start jumping the shark. It's going to start getting ridiculous for them to justify them having tournaments, especially the way they already are, like fighting, damn near fighting to the death. So they might as well do it where they can get paid for it. It's not, boxing wouldn't be it. It would have to be like, if they're going to keep it going, like, I don't know how many seasons they have in mind, or if they have an end goal in mind. But dude, if they, to me, and again, hill I will die on. I'm okay being 100% wrong, but I feel if they win MMA, that they can literally, like, go as far as they want to go and end it on 20 seasons if they wanted to,
Right.
Because what comes after MMA? It takes personality. Then they can get into wrestling, and I know that's jumping the shark. If they got into, like, but some of their fighters, of course, can fail, and then they can get into pro wrestling, and maybe they're better talkers than they are fighters. It can go endless that way, in my opinion.
You're right. It can go endless, and it definitely can go. There's so many routes that you can go, but the way how I'm going to just say, as long as you stay in the Cobra Kai universe.
Yeah, of course.
That's my fear that they're going to do with what they're going to try to do is that they're going to try that one of the writers is going to go outside of the universe, and they're going to do something that it's going to be kind of hard to go back on.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest fear going into season 5, because right now Johnny is going to be going to Mexico to go find Miguel so he can find his dad. And one thing, again, I'm on this Facebook page, Cobra Kai Dojo. I think I want to add you on there. Yeah. And ever since season 4 was released, everybody's been posting memes talking about who's Miguel's dad. You've been seeing stuff about El Chapo. You've been seeing some about Machete as his father. Yeah. They even have one of Raul Julia looking like M. Bison as his father. Raul Julia. It's funny, like, he's his father. Here's his father. And remember Vidal, the guy from She's from Cobra Kai, the original Karate Kid, who
Yeah.
Johnny beat in the semis.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh no, that's his father." it's it's kind of funny, and the way how I'm thinking, like, because Carmen keeps saying he's a bad man. I'm like, so what is he? Is he a drug lord? Is he a gangster? Because Mexico, the narrative is that they're a bunch of drug lords down there, or something like that. So is that who Carmen got mixed up in?
I think when you say that, I honestly think they're gonna flip it, and I think that
Mhm.
like we talk about gray areas, I think Carmen's gonna end up being gray area. I think she's gonna be that mom that the dad's gonna be the good guy, and she actually took Miguel when she wasn't supposed to take him, and you're gonna find out she has some skeletons in her closet. That's how I think they're gonna handle that. I think to me that's the only way. Besides, yeah, drug lord type Miguel. Johnny's gonna show up and he's gonna be fighting. Miguel's gonna be fighting underground, trying to make ends meet. Something like
Right.
that.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what my fear is when it goes to season 5. I'm also kind of scared that Chosen is going to do like what Terry Silver did at the end, and then he's going to take over Miyagi Do, and something like that, and he's going to say, now Miyagi Do belongs to me now, and
Well,
that's like, I'm paranoid about that.
yeah, that can happen too. I didn't think
Yeah.
about that. He could turn back villain.
I mean, it's and, like he could probably be talking about, I want your forgiveness, so I wanted to soften you up, but actually, I'm actually trying to take everything from you.
Yeah, and
It's
again, running in circles, man, and that's where it starts jumping the shark.
right, but Rodney, one thing is this: I really did appreciate being able to sit down and talk to you, especially about season 4 of Cobra Kai. You
Yeah.
got any final last words you want to say?
Well, last thing I want to ask you is so now that it's said and done, how would you rank? What's your ranking of the seasons?
Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. If I'm going to go with my rankings, I'm going to go season 2 at the bottom. I'm going to go season 2, season 4, 3, and 1.
Okay, I think I'm gonna go 1, 4, 3, 2.
What?
Yeah, I think.
Wow.
But see, the thing is that you got to remind. Nah, yeah, yeah, I just thought about season 3, and I'm like, yeah, no, I think I'm sticking with 4 as my number 2.
Okay. Why would you? Before we go, I have to know, why would you put 2 at number? Why is 2 your number 1?
Two's not my number 1. I said 1, 4, 3, 2.
So you're okay, because I was ranking from bottom to top.
Oh
From
no,
bottom
no.
to top. Okay.
Season 1 is my
Okay.
favorite. I think it was the tightest. I think it was the best. I don't want to say best written, but I think it was most tightly written. Um,
Mm.
I think season 4. I'm a fan of what they did with season 4, and Terry Silver did a good job. Season 3, I think that was a backstory of Kreese, and
Mm-hmm.
it did a lot of good stuff in that season. I can't remember everything, but I think it was good enough to warrant its position. And just 2, all I can think about is 2 is how much they spent on Dimitri, and that already just turns me off and makes it rank sucks.
If it isn't Gangsta Kai, it's
Yeah,
Dimitri.
yeah.
Oh
So
man, I'm good. But so I'm going to. Well, my final thing I'm going to say is this: I really do. I really am loving the fact that Cobra Kai is just really sticking to its roots, and yeah, they're bringing in more, the younger viewers, and they're bringing in people who love it. But the thing is, this is something that I wish Star Wars and a lot of other stuff from our childhood would do, is that you don't have to stay away from the foundation. This is what it is. Try to build from it. Don't try to expand and try to make it something that it's not.
yeah,
There's going to be characters that people don't like. Again, I'm saying, like there's a lot of characters that we don't like. Dimitri, I say Tory, Samantha, Kyler. But the thing is that they are staying in that universe. You don't have to do stuff just like I said with Star Wars when it's just like they just said, okay, it's just Star Wars, but we're just going to do our own slop and we're going to put it together, but we're going to find a way how to keep it into the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I love the way how Cobra Kai does, and I'm hoping season 5 sticks to the script. Don't do anything stupid. Stay there.
Yeah, they're respecting the fans, and I think that's where it starts. And my final thoughts are like, I thank everybody that's involved with the show for even if they do jump the shark in season 5, it's definitely been a great experience up until this point. And as a huge fan, back in the 80s, it was one of my favorite movies of all time. I watched it every time it was on. I've owned every version probably that you could own of it, and I will own as many as I can. My son is partially named because of Cobra Kai, so that shows how big of a fan I am. Like, so if this was the end point, I would be more than satisfied, and I would thank everyone involved. It's not even when we talk our negatives about it. I'm still splitting hairs. Like even
Right.
if ranked all the seasons, it's pretty much point decimal differences between them.
Right.
I
Right.
don't
Right.
think I personally on the way that they're going, I don't think they'll ever rank lower than an 8, probably even an 8.5 if we were using points. In my opinion, they all of them are non-pluses to me, and again, if it ended here, I would be more than happy from what I've received. It's had some of the biggest highs of any season I've watched. It's been very consistent. The comedy's still there, the action's still there, the heart and emotion is still there, and so yeah, looking forward to it. I just hope that they don't rush it. It seems like they're pumping them out fast, so that's my biggest fear. And like you, the same reservations and fears of how they're going to handle season 5 is still up in the air. So we'll just have to see it, and we'll be having this conversation hopefully about a year from now.
And I definitely look forward to having that conversation with you, Rodney. I appreciate you. And I wanted to say again, if I'm going to put our social media on the link, be sure to check out Relentless Destiny. I'll tell you right now, Rodney, he's a good filmmaker, got a good eye for the biz. I remember Rodney from over 20, going on over 20 years, and just to see this man and having these conversations. Always, it's just I just really enjoy having this conversation with you, man. I look forward to having another one with you.
Same, brother, and good luck. Good luck with your career, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
Already, thank you again, and hey, have a good day. Okay.
You do the same, man. Later.
All right. Later.